In a quiet little town, there was a black cat named Shadow, known for her eerie, luminescent green eyes. She roamed the streets at dusk, her presence sending shivers down the spines of those who crossed her path. Whispers circulated among the townsfolk that Shadow was no ordinary cat. Some claimed she was a witch's familiar, others said she was a harbinger of doom. One evening, a new family moved into an old creaking house at the end of Maple Street. They had a young daughter named Lucy, who was instantly captivated by the mysterious feline. Lucy would leave out milk on the porch, and each night Shadow would come to drink, her eyes glowing in the moonlight. But as the days turned into weeks, strange things began to happen. Lucy started having vivid dreams where she would see Shadow staring at her from the shadows, whispering secrets in a voice only she could hear. "They don't see me like you do," the cat would purr, its voice echoing in the corners of her mind. "They don't know what I can do." One night, after a particularly unsettling dream, Lucy awoke to find Shadow sitting at the foot of her bed, her green eyes fixed intently on her. The room was bathed in moonlight, and for a moment Lucy felt an unexplainable connection with the creature. Shadow seemed to beckon her, and against her better judgment, Lucy followed. Outside, the air was thick with an unnatural stillness. Shadow led her to the woods behind their house, where the trees loomed like sentinels. As they ventured deeper, Lucy heard a low murmuring, a chorus of voices carried by the wind. The whispers twisted and coiled around her, filling her head with visions of dark rituals and ancient spells. "Join us," Shadow whispered, her voice now a seductive hiss. "You belong with me." Lucy's heart raced, caught between fear and fascination. Just then, the moon slipped behind a cloud, and the woods plunged into darkness. The voices grew louder, a cacophony of pleas and curses and cries. In that moment, Lucy realized that the whispers weren't just in her mind. They belonged to those who had vanished into the night, drawn by Shadow's call. Panic surged through her as she turned to flee, but Shadow was faster, blocking her path with an otherworldly grace. "You can't run from destiny," the cat purred, her eyes gleaming with a predatory light. With a final desperate scream, Lucy broke free and sprinted back towards the house, the whispers chasing her all the way. She burst through the front door and slammed it shut, heart pounding. In the silence that followed, she glanced out the window, only to see Shadow sitting on the porch, staring with a knowing grin. From that night on, Lucy never spoke of what happened in the woods, but she felt the weight of Shadow's gaze every time she stepped outside. The townsfolk noticed that the once quiet cat had begun to vanish, only to return when the moon was at its fullest. And every time Shadow's eyes caught the light, it seemed to promise that the whispers were waiting, patiently, for the next curious soul to heed her call.